Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Daze and welcome to this NXT breakdown and review. Quite a bit to get through, so let's get into it. We started off with Axiom against Carmelo Hayes. This has been building up ever since that Iron Survivor match, and so they went one-on-one. This was a victory for Carmelo thanks to outside interference from Trick Williams. Match was pretty good. Had a nice pace to it. Obviously, both of these guys, very good aerial abilities. And as we said, a very fast-paced match. It was a good way to open the show. Then we went backstage. We got Grayson Waller. He was saying, why should he have to wait for his title opportunity when Roxanne Perez got hers last week? So he said he wanted Bron Breakker. It was pointed out to him that Bron Breakker wasn't there. So he would then spend the rest of the show basically calling out Bron Breakker, saying that he was afraid, telling him to get to the ring, and it would all build towards the final segment. Then we saw Tony and Stacks. Tony basically said that he wants Stacks to go and tell Dijak to stay out of their business, stay away, and that's what Stacks went off to do. We didn't actually really get much follow-up on this. We did see Stacks later talking to what we thought was Dijak, saying, stay out of Tony's business, stay out of the way. He's got a big opportunity next week. He's going to be facing Wesley for the North American Championship. But as the camera panned over, he wasn't talking to Dijak. He was talking to Dijak's dressing room door. So we never actually saw what happened in regards to that conversation. I think it's going to be undeniable, undoubtable that Dijak is going to get involved next week when Tony does battle Wesley for the North American Championship. Then we went to our next match. This was Nikkita Lyons against Zoe Starks. These two have obviously had a little rivalry for a while. They used to be in a tag team. They tried to go after the tag titles. They failed. They failed a couple of times. Then Zoe turned on Nikkita Lyons. Well, they had a match here, and it was all right, actually. The match really wasn't as bad as I thought and feared. I'm not a big Nikkita Lyons fan, you see, and she actually did all right. I was a bit worried that this was going to not be great, but it was all right, and you can see how it ends here with Zoe Starks grabbing a hold of that bottom rope as she rolls over Nikkita Lyons and gets the 1, 2, 3. Then we went backstage. We did see Cora Jade just talking about how she can't believe that Roxanne Perez is the new champion. She's not happy for her, all this kind of stuff. And then out of nowhere, Wendy Choo attacks. Again, this has been built up over a little while. You might remember that drink was poured over Wendy, and she was crying in the ring with her fake eyelashes half on her cheek, and she was a right mess. So this was all right. There was quite a few bits tonight that have had a nice build to them. We're not just getting things just thrown together. I will give praise to NXT for that. I do think maybe some of these segments fall a little flat, but that maybe comes down to inexperience and the fact that a lot of these wrestlers are still pretty green. So it could be that. I think actually the storytelling, they are giving a lot of these feuds time and background, and they are building them, so I give them credit for that. Then again, another example, we see the bar. This is Fallon Henley's bar, and they're talking about how it's a real struggle to keep it going. They're in lots of debt. She's really worried. This would bring in Kiana James. She was looking around saying she wants to lose that and move that, and she's interested in buying this bar and buying it cheap as well, because she knows that Fallon Henley is in a lot of debt with the bar. They've agreed to have a match next week. It's the Battle of the Bar. So basically the winner is going to get the bar. So we've got that match coming up next week as well. They set up actually quite a lot of matches for next week, which was good. Then we went to the women's tag title match. This was a triple threat match. This actually didn't get as much time as what I thought it would, but it was pretty good. Toxic Attraction taking on Kayden and Katana, the champs, and also Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Basically, Kayden was in like a dragon sleeper. She managed to roll backwards and pin Ivy Nile. Of all the people to take the pin, I was surprised it was Ivy Nile. You would have thought it would have been Tatum Paxley, but it wasn't. It was Ivy Nile, which I was a bit surprised at. But the champions retaining in this triple threat women's tag title match. Then we went to, this was kind of nice, Roxanne Perez sitting down with Booker T. They were just talking about like how much she had achieved, how proud he was of her, how she had like represented his wrestling school like amazingly. And she said, well, you know what I'm like. I like to ask you questions as well. So have you got any advice for me? And so he gave her a little bit of advice. And this was kind of nice, actually. It was a really cool moment. She comes across as being like a bit young. She comes across as being maybe a bit vulnerable. Like you could definitely see her not holding on to this for very long because she's, so much has happened in 9 months, more than I think she could have imagined. She went down like a list of achievements. It's amazing what she's achieved in such a short space of time. I don't know that that's going to equate to a long women's title reign. I think that this belt has been on Mandy Rose for a long time. There's a lot of women that deserve a chance with it. But Roxanne Perez deserves her chance as well. She is someone that has really created a lot of buzz since she's come into NXT. And, WWE seemingly want to give her the opportunity to shine and see what she can do. So she's got the ball. It's down to her to run with it now. But I wouldn't be too surprised if this isn't the longest of title reigns. Then we get Apollo in the ring, and he was talking about how he really thought he was going to be champion. Carmelo Hayes comes out. These two getting face-to-face and builds towards a match. So these two will be facing in the near future. Then we went backstage. This was really fun. So we had the New Day. We had Pretty Deadly. And the New Day were saying, did you get all our gifts for us? And Pretty Deadly were like, yes, we did. And they went down a list of things like Nails' prison outfit and just like Honky Tonk Man, I think, got mentioned at one point. There was like loads of Tyler Breeze's selfie stick. There was like loads of just old school bits of memorabilia that they'd been sent off to try and get. And they're doing it so that they can get a shot at the titles. And it was a fun little segment. This was all right. I think the New Day being around really adds a bit of star power, but a bit of genuine fun as well. So I like this. Then we got, it's hard to kind of make out from this image, but we had Alba Fyre backstage. She was making her way because she had a match against Sol Ruka. Just as she was walking to the ring, Isla Dawn appeared and then blew some like red dust into her face. This would be something that we would keep going back to Alba Fyre with as she was trying to get it out of her eyes. Eventually she did get cleared, and so she would have a match, but the match never quite gets going, and you'll find out why in a bit. Then we saw Schism. They ran into Odyssey Jones, Edris Enofe, and Malik Blades. There wasn't really much to this. They basically said to Ava Rain, would you like to come out and have a night out? And she was basically saying, what, you think that what you're going off to do is fun? Like what you're doing is just empty, it's hollow. And then Schism arrived and basically said the same thing. And it's led to a match. It's pretty weak build for this one, to be honest. But hey ho, it is what it is. Then we got poor Indi Hartwell. Poor Indi Hartwell taking on Elektra Lopez. Elektra Lopez reached into her top, pulled out some brass knucks, knocked out Indi Hartwell, and managed to get the 1, 2, 3. This match, as you can see from people's reactions in the background, wasn't really grabbing people's attention, to be honest. But a win here for Elektra Lopez. I don't know what we do with Indi. I feel like I say this most weeks. I just don't know what we do with Indi. We've got to do something with Indi, but everything we're doing at the moment is just not good enough, to be honest. So another loss here. This is not going to give Indi any kind of momentum. It might put her into a feud with Elektra Lopez, but don't know. It's just every week, it's just something else. Like, I really want to see her getting some wins, having a story to get her teeth into. Maybe this will be the start of that story. I really don't know. But, yeah, another bad week for Indi Hartwell. Then we went over to Wes. He made the announcement about him taking on Tony. So we knew that we had that coming up. So I believe that's next week that he defends that North American Championship. Then we got Alba Fyre come down. So Alba Fyre came down to take on Sol Ruka. And before she could get into the ring, Isla Dawn would attack again. This time putting her arm into the ring steps and then using the baseball bat to smash the ring steps into Alba Fyre's arm. So, again, another brutal attack. There was like some laughter track that was played and the screens flickered. And I just think that bit's not necessary, to be honest. That bit's not necessary, especially as literally seconds later, we then go over to Chase U, and we have a fun Chase U segment. And this was pretty fun, actually. All the students were giving gifts to Andre Chase. Duke Hudson didn't have one, so he tricked the person in front of him to hand over his. He then went over and handed it to Andre Chase, and it was pretty fun. I really like Chase U, and I really like these segments. So, yeah, this was all right. Then we went to Drew Gulak. He was doing some training. Hank Walker came over saying, I have seen you, like, checking out my matches. I just want to know, like, is there anything I can do, anything I can learn? And basically he got told to come back and they would do some stuff together. So seems like Hank Walker's going to be doing something with Drew Gulak going forwards. Then we got our main event match. This had quite a bit of time, and it was the New Day defending the NXT Tag Team Championships against Briggs and Jenson. And here you can see Xavier, after delivering a massive elbow, springboard elbow, leaping across the ring. He delivers a brilliant elbow, gets the pin, gets the win, and the New Day retain. I think eventually they'll probably drop the belts back to Pretty Deadly. But, they're having a bit of fun before they do that. Then we got this. So we got confirmation that we were going to get Schism against Odyssey Jones, Malik Blade, and Edris Enofe. Look at the head on Joe Gacy, though. What is that about? I mean, like, someone has photoshopped that onto that body, and it looks completely wrong. I have no idea why that has happened or why someone would even think that looks acceptable. But, like, that's just crazy. I don't know why they've done that. I did wonder if that was like a rib, if they were playing a prank or a joke on Joe Gacy. I have no idea, but, there it is. I mean, it jumped out straight away. As soon as I saw it, I just thought it looked so bizarre. So if you can't see the image, if you are listening to this, we do put this out as a podcast on Google Podcasts and all of those. You need to check out this image. I'll put it up on my Twitter account because it's pretty weird. Pretty weird. I don't know why someone thought that looked all right. Then we got to the main kind of closing segment. So this was Grayson Waller. He got into the ring. He called out Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker came down. Now you can see Bron spear Grayson with his shoulder. Definitely his shoulder. 100% his shoulder. And he speared Grayson. Grayson with the old trick of having something there. And it knocked Bron out. Like, I don't really get it. He speared him. I understand him getting an injured shoulder. But how did it knock him out? So, he speared him. He had, like, a protective vest on. And for some reason, that resulted in Bron Breakker being knocked out cold. Don't get it. Don't understand. But, it is what it is. And this obviously is building up the match between these two, which should be a real banger, actually. I am looking forward to it. So, yeah, Grayson Waller versus Bron Breakker. We are going to be getting that match in the future. But bit of a weird way to end the show. But hey ho, it is what it is. It's pretty fun. And this show was all right. I think it's one of those shows that on paper it looks like it's going to be a barn burner. I don't know if the crowd were once again just a little flat at times. At times they were very good as well, though. They were much better than the Raw crowd we had last night. But yeah, I don't know. This one still didn't blow me away. I feel like we're in a bit of a holiday slump. I think maybe once we get out of December, into January, into the new year, hopefully we'll start to see things like clicking a little bit more. But it was all right. Definitely watchable. Not a chore to sit through. I'd probably give it like a 6.75, something along those lines. I don't think that there was much that blew my mind, and I think that's what it comes down to. But still, entertaining, worth a watch. And on we go to next week, which looks like a decent show. Awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate the support, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.